Welcome to today's Qualified at the Intersection. So today and all week, I'm going to be bringing you all some real strategies. Like, what can you do in your workplace that's not going to be labeled DEI, that can help move diversity, equity, inclusion along? I have some examples I'm going to be pulling directly from my book for you all. We're going to try to get to some solutions. There's Texas holding state legislators hostage. There's, the president saying he ended 6 wars and he did not. I want to, at least for a couple of days, focus on what we can do. And so today, what I'm going to talk about is something I've been thinking about. Now, as many of you may know, Mark Zuckerberg has platformed Robbie Starbuck, who is a nobody, who has become somebody through a social media following. And major executives are giving this person who has no formal education, no knowledge of what he's talking about, positions in their company, oversight around diversity, equity, inclusion. It's actually insane. And so the question for me is, what do I do with my products from Mark Zuckerberg? What do I do with Instagram? What do I do with Facebook? And as some of you know, I asked the same question about Substack, because ultimately it's like nowhere to run, nowhere to hide at a certain point. But I've been thinking about practical things we can do, because that's all we can really try. So when it comes to Facebook, I think most people nowadays use it as a way to keep up with family and friends. So family who is very distant, or friends from college or graduate school or high school or whatever, following their kids growing up, you can still use it like that, which I understand the value of that. But there's some concrete things you can do to really reduce the impact for Facebook. So we're going to talk about Facebook first. So number one, sure, comment on your friends and your family's pictures and posts, but nothing else. Now, I have a hard time with this. I'm not going to lie. I get all riled up if I go over there looking for my niece's, pictures for her start of school and I read a comment. But I am going to try to start with a month of no comments on any post that is not related specifically to friends or family. This reduces the traffic to these sites, which then helps reduce their revenue for their ads. So we have to think of these other ways that we can, it's not, let's say, a full-on hunger strike, but you're going to sit down at the lunch counter, right? You know what I mean? Like, how can you, in this modern world, affect this type of change? And I think one thing you can do with Facebook is starve the algorithm, not liking, not commenting, not reposting anything that is not specifically related to what you're there for, which for most people is their family and friends, right? Facebook ads, a long time ago I did them. They are a scam, in my opinion, and I would suggest people not use them. There are other ways to get your message out. And I also suggest people download their pictures from Facebook. There's a way you can transfer your pictures. You can get a nice size jump drive, or actually a little book that you can download your pictures. So download your pictures so you have them, and really try to reduce your usage of Facebook to the specifics, your friends, families commenting, but do not comment on stories. Do not click on affiliate links, and do not repost. And it seems easy, but for many people it's really hard. But that can have a real impact for Facebook. Now, I would say similarly for Instagram, although Instagram is a harder nut to crack, because a lot of people use Instagram for their business, especially if they're influencers of a sort. With Instagram, I would say, again, watch who you're clicking. Like, I wouldn't click through. Like, if I see something on Instagram I will take the name down and go directly to the site, as opposed to click through. There are ways that you can slow down and limit the access you give ads. But if there are people who you follow, like the young lady, Booker, I forget her full name, but she's amazing. If you want to follow her and comment, you're going to do that. But try to figure out how can you limit those click-throughs and other things that give them that kind of revenue. And so those are two practical things for Facebook and for Instagram. The other thing that people can do, and I know a lot of people are already doing this, is start to really reduce our spending. I think there are a lot of reasons to do this. In fact, one of the commenters on my Substack gave a really long post, which is really well written, about the fact that Donald Trump has bankrupted everything he's run. So we should assume we are in one of his businesses, which means reducing eating out, reducing unnecessary spending, and putting that money away. And it may seem like $20, $30 is not a big deal, but we just don't know where this all ends. And we have the ability with our dollars to indicate, no matter what his fake numbers are, that the economy is not strong, because people are afraid. And people are afraid. So we have the ability to counteract his fake numbers by showcasing that, look, people are not spending a ton on discretionary spending because they don't feel comfortable. And I think what you'll find is you save money. You have money for things that you don't think you would have money for. And so, these are, real practical things. And then as it comes to the boycotting, obviously the boycott of Target has worked very well as far as people reducing traffic. I think we want to reduce traffic to Walmart. And basically what I'm trying to do, and say people can do with Facebook and Instagram, is the same thing: reduce traffic. I would never say to somebody who lives in an area where Walmart is the only provider, they can't go to Walmart. Like, that's ridiculous. But they can maybe make those trips twice a month as opposed to every week. They can be more judicious with their spending, things of that nature. So these are real practical things, because people, I think, are hungry for what can I do. And then tomorrow, I'm going to be sharing with you tomorrow, which I think is Wednesday. And then the rest of the week, I'm going to be sharing with you directly from my book, practical things that you can do. If you are working in a company, if you own a business, if you're an employee of a business, and you want to still move forward a diverse, equitable workforce. And these are things that they're not, the things I'm going to be talking about, things I'm going to be sharing with you, are things that are not going to draw any kind of fire around DEI. But the question is, do people have the wherewithal and the strength to really want to make change? So that's what we're going to be working on this week. Thanks for indulging me with my birds story yesterday, because I'm telling you, I was just blown away by this whole bird situation. The movie The Birds is terrible. It's just terrible, but we won't get back into that. So if you have other practical suggestions that you think people can use around Facebook, around Instagram, I know it's easy to say, well, just get rid of it, delete it. But really, for many people, that is the only way they stay in contact with extended family and friends. But you can do a sit-in by not giving the algorithm any juice, by reducing your click-throughs, and by not engaging on posts that, quite frankly, we now know that Meta is using AI bots to juice up the post. So if you look, you'll see like, oh, this person has 25 followers or 50 people who they're connected to. These are frequently bots that they're putting on these sites to create arguments to engage. So they actually know engagement is slowing down. So they're trying to trick you to engage. So, and again, I like got something to say about everything. So I'm not saying that I'm not the same kind of person, but my goal is, starting from today until next month at this time, no more comments, no click-throughs on Facebook. So I'll see you tomorrow.